Oh boy, it's a big one. Yeah, I like the big ones. It's the time for a package from China. Let's go. Didn't work out. Try hands. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In this video, we are going to take a close look at this A95X Max Plus Edition. But what makes this thing so special? Not only it has a unique form factor you don't see very often with some extra options, but it also comes with a lot of different stuff. For example, with some extra controllers. So they try to dedicate this TV box to, let's say, gaming in general. So most TV boxes will come with a similar chipset, what we're going to talk about later in this video. But they are like dedicated to watching some videos, Netflix, Amazon Prime, you name it. But this one has some extra features that you didn't see with previous models, especially when it comes to extending the internal memory. I'm giving this thing this nickname, the Tower of Power, because it looks like a tower and it has quite some power. But how much power? That is what we're also going to talk about today, and how it will eventually turn out when you want to play some emulation with this. So the presentation of this product is pretty nice. It comes in this very nice high quality cardboard box. Don't know what you need to do with this. Here we have the Power of Tower. Man, this thing is quite heavy. Looks really nice, but we're going to take a close look at it later. First, what comes with this device? It comes with the Wii remote, or the clone Wii remote, a normal remote. Here we have the power supply. And here we have something very interesting, because it also comes with a controller. Let's take a close look at the controller, because this is very interesting and the first box that I ever got so many peripherals. I have seen this controller before, for the Nintendo Switch if I recall it correctly. But nevertheless, this is just a basic mold. It looks very nice. Looks a little bit like PlayStation controller. There is only one downside. Normally you can swatch out the D-pad, but I only got this version. But it feels quite nice and it feels like a very good quality controller. With the controller itself, as you can see, we need to connect it through the Bluetooth. So when I'm done this, we can use the controller with the Bluetooth. And this is something that I think is really cool with this kit. You have basically everything that you're going to need. But what I really like about these Chinese boxes is that we can turn them into retro game machines. And then overall, what you're going to get with this is that when you're installing it, we're having the option to install it through an SD card and maybe also with an internal hard disk. Because this thing, what I'll show you later, has the option to use a hard disk inside in 2.5 inches and maybe also an SSD of course. But we're having so much more stuff that we can play now and makes this thing like not only the Tower of Power, but a retro Tower of Power. That we can play a lot of old stuff up to Sega Dreamcast, very good. PlayStation Portable will run okay, but still the Nvidia Shield has better compatibility, and yep, I will show you later in the video when it comes to the specs, because the Nvidia Shield is still undefeated, but the Nvidia Shield doesn't have emulation. Let's talk about the Wii Remote clone. The quality itself, it's not like the Nintendo product of course, but the clone is getting really close and it feels quite nice. It feels not like an authentic Nintendo controller, but it's a really fun extra thing you're going to get with this kit. Okay, so let's boot up a game. There are a couple of games that you can download, not a lot. So Sword Warrior is the game that we're going to try out. And you can see we can basically do the slicing movement when moving the controller. The idea is similar to a Nintendo Wii. It's really fun and it's really cool to have stuff like this. But take consideration that not a lot of retro games. So let's say if you want to play it like with a light gun, that is not possible. It's very limited. For design, I personally really love it. But there's a little bit of a problem because most boxes are very tiny and you can basically put them beneath your television or every position you want to. But this is a little bit limited because of the design of the casing itself. Here at the front we're having the receiver for the remotes, and it even includes 4 USB connections. We're having a TF slot at the front and we're having here the on and off switch. It seems to be all the USB connections have been moved to the front, and we're having here a jack out, we're having digital out, HDMI, an Ethernet connection, and of course the input for your power adapter. Okay, so if you take a close look at the power supply, this is a 12 volt 2500 milliamp. So if you're having a problem or you need to get a new one, this is not going to be a big of an issue. Well, let's talk about the casing itself. I really love the design, but that's something that is more like a personal thing. It's made of metal, so it feels also quite heavy. You can remove the little feet, and the reason why is very simple, and that is also why it has a tower design. As you can see over here, you can put in a 2.5-inch hard disk or SSD for extending the internal memory. Nevertheless, let's open it up. Let's see what kind of design this thing has more, because I'm very curious how it's looking inside. Okay, so let's take a close look at the shell itself. We can move it like this, and then we having the outer shell and of course all the components. This is what we're going to get, and as you can see, we can reach everything very easily. Here we have, I'm guessing here's the chip. They putting little cooling pad on it. It's a little bit strange, there is no ventilator or something in it, so just passive cooling. Okay, so I have put batteries in everything, and the first thing that I'm noticing, this thing doesn't work with a dongle. With most TV boxes you're going to need a dongle. This thing doesn't need one. But with the Wii remote you need a separate dongle. So that's what we're going to do. The first port is going to get used by this. So let's see. And as you can see, I already mentioned that this is going to be more like an air remote. The menu itself looks pretty nice. To be honest, I prefer this over the one with the NVIDIA Shield, but it's more like a personal thing, of course. Here we have all the programs that are already installed. For example, we're having some action games that is especially for this controller. But first, let's check A95X and let's see what we're going to get. So it's indeed a 4 GB installed RAM model that has 64 internal gigabytes of storage. Let's go to the CPU. So as you can see, here are the CPUs, an ARM Cortex A53 and the ARM Cortex A73. Alright, let's see, we're having CPU cores, 6 of them, clocked on 800 MHz. And let's go to the display, and here we can see we have a GPU and Mali G52. This has 2 GPU cores. And it's an Android 9 Pie. And yes, it's a rooted device, and sadly this means we can't use Netflix on the full HD or 4K resolutions. We can't watch Netflix on very high resolutions, but I can tell you, if you're going to watch on 4K on YouTube, it is very nice and it works without any hassle. But let's do a quick comparison with the NVIDIA Shield, and you can see that the freaking Shield is still undefeated even in 2021. And fun fact, like NVIDIA Shield are still using very old chipset. In my opinion, they didn't improve a lot when it comes, especially with the Pro version. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. So this device has its potential, but if you want to have the best box, the NVIDIA Shield, in my opinion, is still the best. And you will see it when you're playing PlayStation Portable. A lot of games will run, some need some frame skipping. God of War is out of the question, in my opinion. Will not run on 60 FPS with frame skipping off. So that is something that you need to take consideration with this box.
Get ready for the next battle.
So far so good. 58 FPS. Dipping to 37, goes up to 60. So what you can see that it's dipping a little bit sometimes. Stable FPS, works like a charm. But you can see it doesn't run on a 60 FPS stable. It dipped slightly to the 55. The sound is a little bit off. Alright, so let's try an Android game. And as you can see, this thing looks beautiful. It runs very smooth. So this Tower of Power, it's a quite interesting concept in many ways. First of all, I like it that you're going to get some extra controllers, so it's more like, let's say, in game system, they're like bringing you something new. The option I like is like adding yourself a 2.5-inch spinning disc or an SSD. And in combination with some emulac, or you just want to install a front end with some emulators, you can play a lot of retro games. The only downside of this box is, it's quite expensive, but it is cheaper than Nvidia Shield. So when it comes to PlayStation Portable Sega Saturn, here we're going to find the limitation of this box. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, let me know in the comments what do you think of this, and it would be great to have you in the Wicked family. And I will see you in the next video, and maybe we have another great box to review. And don't forget to hit that little bell and give this video a like.